Good day everyone. Today I want us to look at entries. Most people have been asking about entries, so this video is going to be specifically about entries. I want you to be able to get entries like this, as you can see on the screen, like this, entries like this, entries like this. It's possible if you really master what I'm going to tell you. Well, we can all agree that we spoke about different kind of strategies on this channel. We focused on the most explosive trading strategy for indices, and then again we spoke about the trend continuation strategy. I gave you the PDFs, the exact playbooks that I use for my daily executions, two different strategy for currencies. Here we have an explosive trading strategy for indices, and this one is the trend continuation. Everything is in the description, and this is a lifetime update. You'll agree with me that we have to continue, because if we don't continue or move forward, then we're always gonna focus on the same thing, and there's a lot of things you're not gonna learn. So in this video, I specifically want to focus on entries. Let's say on a Tuesday, let's say we got something like this. The following day, what do we do on this asset? We do nothing. However, we will mark that we have the high here, the low here, closing price somewhere around here. We have three levels. Let's say the next day they do something like this. They go down and eventually they go up and come and close here. We have the high, we have the lower, and then again we have the closing price. This is a trend day. It actually violated the high of the previous day, which is here. So what do we anticipate the following day? The following day we are actually expecting prices to collapse to at least a key level. Then we're gonna be relying on the levels. Whenever they come to a level or to a key area, some call it a key area, support and resist, they're gonna react to this level. So what do? We wait to see what are they doing. If they start behaving here, then we're gonna rely on market structure. They are gonna go down, they will be doing something like this. And one thing you will have to notice here is that this high remains intact, this one remains intact, this one remains intact, because they are going down. They are only violating the lows. At some point they will turn and do something like this. The moment they do something like this, you know that they have violated this recent high over here. What are we waiting for? We are waiting for them to confirm. We want them to come down and confirm here with a big candle. When they do something like this, now we know that market structure has changed, which is possibly a change in direction. So whenever they do this at a key area, then we want to buy all the way back to the top. I believe we already understand this. However, in this video, I'm going to show you something very important. I assure you, if you master this industry is going to be the most easiest for you. However, you have to understand this, go back and practice it. Watching this alone will not help, but you have to go and implement it. So as I said, we are expecting them to come down, but some of the days they won't come down. That's what becomes more interesting. Let's say, for instance, instead of going down so that they give us a buy low opportunity, let's say this day they playing over here, they can break the high, it's not a problem. Then eventually they come to the closing price and they come and bounce here. Then they come and retest the closing price and give you a super huge engulfing candle to the downside. This is a great opportunity. This now will give you something like a pattern. And if you see this, remember market structure. When they give you something like this is gonna be a huge opportunity to the downside. Please pay close attention to this, because most people are actually paying close attention to opportunities where they have to come down so that they buy low. However, there are days when they won't do that. So the key thing I want you all to understand here is this. Let's say this was Wednesday. Now when you come, you're gonna see that they made a high over here, they made a low over here. You can simply just draw these levels out, and we have the closing price over here. One thing I really want you to understand is, what do they do the following day? Because yes, as much as you are expecting continuation in the direction of yesterday, they can still change the things. When you come to your charts, you can see that instead of collapsing down to give you a buy low opportunity, they just kept holding the closing price, going high, coming all the way down, and eventually doing something like this and something like this. So when you come and you see something like this, maybe this is the New York opening session. When you see something like this, one thing you have to be able to identify here, this is highly important. You must identify that they have given you something like a rectangle. In other words, they have been consolidating on the closing price, or between the high of yesterday, which is this area over here, and the closing price, which is this area area over here, and eventually when the New York session opens, they break to the downside. You don't react, you just observe. Maybe they go and touch the closing price once more and collapse here with an engulfing candle. This is your golden moment. This move is gonna be very quick and it's gonna collapse straight. So as much as you are looking for a pullback and a continuation in the direction of yesterday's trend, they can do this. This changes the dynamics. When you see this, just remember that the dynamics have changed and they are now preparing you for a super big opportunity that can grow your account massively. Now this is a beautiful execution on gold, and I want to share the reasons behind this trade, paying close attention to what I've just explained to you a few moments ago. If you look at this, I took it very early in the morning and I left it to run throughout the entire day. So I did take this very early because I plan to go out. So now let's look at it. Gold is one of the assets that will always go up when there is like instability throughout the world. Right now we know there is a tariff war happening and we know there's just a lot of instability throughout the world. There's one thing that most people do not pay close attention to, and that is gold. Gold is a safe haven. In my recent video, I shared to you that gold will mostly retest 50%. So I took from where the move began to the highest point. And when I did that with this expansion tool, mostly it's gonna retest to 50%. So I marked this area over here, which is a 50%. Yes, of course, I did tell you that I've added the 40% and the 60%. This is for the retest because most people are gonna be chasing moves when the asset is going up. So mostly it's gonna retest all the way to 40% or 50 or 60. This is where it's gonna retest to. So it can collapse up to 60% because it's gonna get all those who jumped with emotions. So I knew that and I put this line over here. And when I came on this day, yes, of course, it's not a trend day. It's nothing close to a trend day. However, it was right here. So I came to a smaller time frame, a 15-minute time frame. And one thing I want you to see is that we have the closing price here. Not only that, so have a beautiful pattern here. However, I'll share the strategy later. First, I wanted you to master the most simplest strategy so that later I can share the most advanced things with you. And I'm gonna bring the 21 EMA right here in so you can see we have this happening over here. For the past 2 days, they've been playing on the 50% and actually they're just squeezing the move. And now they gave us a pattern and they broke out of that pattern. We want them to break out, then we want them to retest and give us a big candle. Remember what I said about the first breakout being the break-in structure, and then when they pull back and go up again, this is a break-off structure. So if you look at this on a 5-minute time frame, it was very early in the morning. Yes, of course, they did give the first breakout, and then after that, what did they do? They pulled back down. I didn't get this opportunity because I was still busy reading a book here. So they went up here again, and now I knew, oh, these guys have gone up. My point of reference is the closing price. The closing price is a very important area. So I wanted them to retest. I'm not gonna chase prices after they've gone up. They came down, retested, and gave a super big engulfing candle. The moment they gave this engulfing candle, I entered here and I allowed the move to just go. And I came to this area over here, if you look at it, and I picked out the high. The high was somewhere here. Gold does well in the midst of economic instability. When the world is scared, they are gonna run to gold because it's a safe haven. Once you understand the simplest things, that's when I can introduce the most complex things, because honestly, this is one of the hardest industry and you really have to put in the work if you want to be highly profitable. Hence I'm saying if we keep focusing on one thing, then there's a lot of things people are not gonna master. This is another gold one that I took on the 21st of March. As you can see, I also took this one way too early in the morning. Gold can move in any session. So I took it from this to the low. These key levels, they are very important. In my recent one, I took it to the high, and now I took this one exactly to the level. Now here's the 21st. It was on a Friday. Remember we spoke about structure, and if you look at this, structurally it's going up. It's just violating the highs. It's never ever violating the lows. If you look at this, as you can see, they are violating the what? The highs. The next high is higher. The next high is higher. And then the next high again is higher. So in terms of market structure, you can see the lows are intact. They gave us something like a half Batman. I've shared these patterns. Even in my playbook, this middle one, the one for indices, has all the patterns you'll ever need. So we did explain all these things and you already have this kind of information. Even in my recent videos, I explained it. So if you look at this right here, they gave us the candlestick we need. And where are they? They are on the closing price of the previous day. Then what do? They come and collapse. When they collapse, what do? Now they've broken structure. What is this? This is a break-in structure. They go back inside. Wait for them to go back and come back with a super big one. Look at the 21 EMA. This move is already inside, and this is a super big engulfing candle. Look at it. It has engulfed 1, 2, and almost 3. This is where I executed, and you have to put your stops above. This was very early in the morning. I took this one to where? To the low of the previous day, because this is the closest area they're gonna reach. If you read the playbook again, if you read this here, go under the different kind of trends on the explosive trading strategy for indices. Here it is. This is under the creeping trend. There are days when they will explode to the downside. Then they will keep creeping as long as they don't come and violate this area over here. This move should be very fast. This one should take more time. And then eventually this tells you they are going to continue down. You had this information. Where is it? It is in this middle book, and most of you already have it. So you see, you all had this information. That's where it collapses. This move must be strong, and then they just creep all the way up, and then eventually they are gonna continue. If you go to a 1 minute time frame, you'll see a minor retest and a collapse. Unfortunately for me, as I said, I had to go out, hence why I executed in the morning. Now this is an interesting one. This is USD JPY. It's very interesting in the sense that the previous day we got a trend day. However, they did not satisfy the trend day. They went down. Let me show you this on the chart. The previous day, this happened this Friday. It's an execution I took on Friday. They gave us a trend day to the upside. But here's something that is more fascinating. If you go to a 15 or a 5 minute time frame, that's where you're gonna see something super interesting. What do you see here? They go all the way down, and here they don't give you any form of a pattern. Because if you look here, they never retested this. So I was observing all these things up until the time they came to the closing price. Instead of really collapsing and giving us an opportunity to the upside, what do? They come play on the closing price, propel people to go down, which is very interesting, right? Then they come to the closing price, they bounce on the closing price, they now come down and they bounce on the closing price. If you look at a 15 minute, that's why I actually executed it. Look at what are they doing on the closing price. This is actually telling you we don't want to go up, we don't want to go up, we are ending it here. They gave us a super big news candle. I waited, and then they went all the way up, and when they came down, that's where I took my entry. I took it all the way down. It was a good one. That's why you can see I actually opened 2 positions. It wasn't such a big one, but it was a beautiful one. Almost 50 from 2 positions. That's almost 100 on a beautiful Friday. Look at structure. They are going all the way up, all the way up. Then all of a sudden here, they break structure. They come back inside, and I didn't enter here. I just wanted to be sure. I wanted to be patient. That's when they came all the way up here, and they collapsed. The moment they collapsed with this big one, that's where I entered. So on this one, I just wanted to be a little more patient and take it when it's obvious, because bouncing on the closing price did give me a lot of information. This gives you all the information you need. If you can master what they are doing to the closing price, the high or the low, that's when you're gonna get the most easiest executions. Lastly, here is a beautiful Bitcoin execution here. As you can see, I waited for the pattern. This is a W. I'm gonna take it here. I wanted to retest first, so they went all the way up. I was observing, then they came down. Look at this candlestick, this one, the inside one, and this big one. We spoke about that. So that is exactly where I executed. So yes, I put my stops over here, and they came and closed me. Then I waited for almost 2 hours before looking for another opportunity, because I'm not just gonna jump in. You don't just jump in after they've closed you. This is where they came, and this was a retest, and they gave me a super big candle on a 5 minute. It had closed, and it had already engulfed almost 2 candles. So I entered again, and I took it back to this high. I didn't take it back to the pin, because pins can be a little bit tricky. I took it back to the bodies of this high. This was a beautiful win. So let's just go and look at it. This day was a beautiful trend day, and then they went all the way back to the top. This is one that really did well, because the following day they did retest, and not only that, they retested to a key level. The key level obviously is this, and if you look at it, is the high the day before yesterday. You can pull these ones through, and when you pull these ones through, now you need to know what are they doing when they come to this this level over here. And that's when they started coming and bouncing. That's where they started coming in and giving a consolidation. What did they do after giving a consolidation? And it's a W for those who like W patterns. I gave you all the patterns you need. I don't want to take it immediately when it breaks out. Let's bring the 21st EMA. Then they went all the way to the top. They came and retested. I was at the end of the day waiting for the retest, and that's when they gave me one candle, this doji candle and this big candle, and I took it here. They came and closed me. Obviously, I have to give them space if I'm putting my stops. However, this was a very big stop and I'm not comfortable with going beyond 25. So I put it here and then they came and closed me. I waited and later they gave a beautiful engulfing candle again, which actually made it seem as if what? As if this was a beautiful retest. And not just that, it also touched here. Let me bring this one to 161 a circle. It also touched the 21st EMA and then they gave me a super big candle. This time I put my stop slow and it went all the way up, and my TP was so strict. It was somewhere around here. This is where my TP was, and they just came and hit my TP over here. So this one was a very beautiful one. However, I took it on a 5 minutes. I took it a little bit early because I took it here. You see, this is a super big engulfing candle, and then again that red one, that doji, and this big one. So everything aligns, and then I took it here and it went all the way back here. So this was 100 and something, very easy. And in terms of market structure, you can see breaking the lows, breaking the lows, breaking the lows, breaking the lows. All of a sudden they break this high over here. This is a break-in structure. You just wait and be patient. They come back, they don't come and violate this low. However, they come again and violate this high over here. So market structure will save you. There are many instances where you'll actually be lost if you don't really rely on market structure. But I want you to pay close attention to what they are doing here. Guys, I really appreciate you. Thank you.